The relationship between morality and religion has been a subject of philosophical, theological, and ethical debate for centuries. Some argue that morality is fundamentally rooted in religious belief, as divine commandments provide an objective basis for distinguishing right from wrong. Others contend that morality is an independent construct based on human reason, social contracts, and evolutionary biology. Here in this video, we explore whether morality can exist without religion by analyzing philosophical arguments, scientific perspectives, and historical evidence. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel Sociopedia. Let's first understand morality and religion, and for that it is crucial to define these concepts. Morality refers to a system of values, principles, and judgments that guide human behavior, distinguishing between right and wrong. It encompasses ethical theories, social norms, and personal conscience. Religion, on the other hand, is a structured belief system that often includes doctrines, rituals, and moral codes derived from divine revelations. Traditionally, religious moral frameworks, such as the Ten Commandments in Christianity and Judaism, the 5 precepts in Buddhism, and the Sharia law in Islam, have been regarded as authoritative guidelines for ethical conduct. However, moral principles such as honesty, compassion, and justice are found in secular philosophical traditions as well, raising the question of whether morality is inherently dependent on religion. There are several philosophical perspectives and theories that have shaped this debate over time, including the divine command theory, which suggests that morality is derived from God's will. According to this view, moral actions are right because God commands them, and immoral actions are wrong because they contradict divine law. This perspective suggests that without God, moral values would be arbitrary, and humans would lack an objective foundation for ethical judgments. However, this theory faces challenges, particularly the Euthyphro dilemma, proposed by Plato. The dilemma questions whether actions are morally because God commands them, or whether God commands them because they are inherently right. If moral principles are independent of God's commands, then morality must exist outside of religion. Equally, moral realism argues that moral truths exist objectively, independent of religious belief. Philosophers such as Immanuel Kant and John Stuart Mill proposed secular ethical theories that do not rely on divine authority. Kantian ethics argued for a categorical imperative, a universal moral law derived from human reason. He believed that moral duties arise from rational principles rather than divine commandments. Likewise, John Stuart Mill, a proponent of utilitarianism, suggested that moral actions should be judged based on their consequences, particularly whether they maximize happiness and minimize suffering. These perspectives demonstrate that moral reasoning can exist independently of religious doctrines. The social contract theory, advocated by philosophers such as Thomas Hobbes and Jean-Jacques Rousseau, suggests that morality emerges from agreements among individuals in a society. People adopt moral norms to ensure social order, security, and cooperation. This secular foundation of morality implies that ethical principles can evolve based on human needs rather than divine commands. On the other hand, scientific research, particularly in psychology and evolutionary biology, also provide evidence that morality can exist without religion. Biologists argue that morality has evolved as an adaptive trait that enhances social cohesion and survival. Studies on primates have shown behaviors such as empathy, fairness, and cooperation, suggesting that moral instincts predate religious belief. Franz de Waal, a primatologist, has observed that chimpanzees exhibit moral behaviors such as reconciliation and altruism, indicating that morality has biological roots rather than exclusively religious origins. In the same purchase, research in neuroscience has shown that moral decision-making is linked to brain structures such as the prefrontal cortex, supporting the idea that moral reasoning is a natural cognitive process rather than a supernatural gift. Psychologists such as Lawrence Kohlberg and Jean Piaget have studied moral development in children, demonstrating that moral reasoning progresses through stages, often independent of religious instruction. Children develop an understanding of fairness, justice, and empathy through social interactions rather than religious teachings. Indeed, throughout history, many societies have upheld moral principles without reliance on religious doctrines. For example, In ancient China, Confucianism, a non-theistic ethical system, has emphasized virtues such as benevolence, righteousness, and loyalty for over 2 millennia. Many contemporary nations, such as Sweden and Denmark, have high levels of secularism and yet rank among the world's most ethical and peaceful societies. This suggests that moral behavior does not necessarily require religious belief. However, despite the evidence supporting secular morality, critics argue that without religion, moral relativism prevails, leading to moral chaos. Without God, morality is subjective and lacks authority. Altogether, while religious teachings have historically influenced moral thought, moral principles can arise from human reason, social contracts, and evolutionary instincts. And therefore, religion is not a necessary foundation for morality. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to our channel, Sociopedia.